And you guys can see we're live, yes?
Yeah,
It says we're live on the top corner of my screen, yeah.
Does it?
Yeah, it
say-
says
it
live,
shows up
10
in the-
seconds.
All right, cool.
11,
There we go.
12,
13,
14.
14.
Okay, there we are.
Oh, I
Yep,
see
good.
it.
All right, there we are. Good evening, everybody. Yoo-hoo! And we're today, does everybody have a good time on the 4th of July? Everybody count all 10 back? You got them all? Your ears are good?
Yeah.
And your dogs have overcome the shock of the boom booms that there were, right? Everybody's on that?
Yes.
Cool. And I'm sure that none of you guys participated in picnic party food. I mean, I just know. Are you kidding me? That's why we get protocol, right?
You really want to know, George?
Yeah. This is, I did spend 3 years in the seminary, but this is not a confessional. So here we go. So anyway, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we're going to talk about the elephant in the room, not me, the real elephant, and that's the belly. And not the ho jolly belly, not the Michelin belly, not the Pillsbury belly. We're talking the big dad bod belly. Not the one on the scale, not the BMI, but the spare tire. Why did that ever get called a spare tire? I don't know. It's really the Dunlap, isn't it? Did you guys ever call it the Dunlap?
Yes.
Dunlap over the belt?
Or the Dicky-Doo disease.
Yeah.
Dicky-Doo disease, yeah.
There you go. So what if your belly isn't just storing fat? What if it's stealing our testosterone? Now, did you guys ever in a million years think that other than belly getting in the way? I mean, did you ever think about it robbing your testosterone? Did anybody ever mention that?
Never.
No, never.
No, and when did you ever realize that belly was actually affecting your health?
The only part I figured it affected me was trying to tie my shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, I'm with you. The idea of the belly in the way of the lungs and breathing while you're bending over. Now, did you all would do it that task? Did you ever decide that it was easier to sit than stand doing it, or did you all pretend like you're a flamingo?
Well,
Or did you buy
know,
boots? John probably bought boots, right?
I actually got videos online of me when I had a belly wrestling, so I can't use that for excuse.
Really?
Yeah.
So did y'all wear laceless boots that are illegal in Montana?
Yeah, you can say laceless boots, I guess. I mean,
you opened that door, John.
Yeah, they're knee highs and spandex, and what else?
Yeah.
What else you want to go?
Good gravy. But yeah, so what happened with this? Let's get about the truth about the belly. When you guys started and you found what we'll talk about later, how fast and how many inches, if at all, did your belly evaporate? How fast did it go? James, did you even have to worry about that belly at all?
Oh yeah. My waistline shrunk 4 inches. Has shrunk 4 inches from where I was, when I first started the program. Or protocol.
And I know you're a jogger and you're going to CrossFit and Orange Theory. No,
not so much.
Not so much.
I walk.
You walk. Okay.
I walk. My joints and discs are a little too messed up for bouncing and jogging.
I get it.
I do walk a lot.
Keith, what about you? Did once you started going, what was your transport?
My biggest was 50 inches, and within the first 90 days, I want to say I was down 12 inches. I'm now down a total of 15.
Wait a minute, back up here. It took adamant 50 inches to go around your belly button?
Yeah.
How many tall were you?
Well, I'm 6 feet, so 72 inches tall.
Okay, so there was some. You weren't like a bowling pin. Okay, you're more like a gourd.
Yeah, there you go. You could say it like that. But yeah, I was when I came out of the hospital. I had no clothes that fit me.
Wow. Wow. So 50 down into the 30s.
35, yep.
35. Holy cannoli.
I mean, I buy 36s because I don't want to be squeezing into 34s, but even, I can wear 36 and I'm able to keep them up without a belt. Not real well, but I can do it.
Okay. Well, you could wear suspenders.
Well,
Over
No,
the shoulder boulder holders.
no,
Like-
I really couldn't, George.
you couldn't. You get all tangled up and discombobulated.
Well, yeah.
Or put them
I
on
was-
backwards.
Well, of course. I like the cross, and I like the attention.
There you go.
The X
Perfect.
goes in the back, not the front.
Oh, is that where it goes? Okay. What about you? How did your belly change at all, or?
Yeah, in the recent 90 days, it's down about 3 or 4 inches. But I had lost weight a long, long time ago. So I was close to Keith. I was at about a 44, 46, and had lost a bunch of weight a long time ago, but still had issues. We'll talk about that later. I didn't fix everything. Yeah.
Okay, Big John, I gotta hear the Michelin Man story here.
Yeah, before the protocol, I was, depending on what brand what clothes I wear, it'd be a 44 or a 46-inch waist. And, and I wasn't smart when I started this, so I didn't take any body measurements or anything like that. But the thing is, that first month on the protocol, I was down 60 pounds. And, now that I'm 17 months on it, 15 months, 16, whatever it is, I'm squeezing into 32s, 34s. Just the other day, I wasn't paying attention, grabbed a pair of pants out of the laundry hamper and put it on. And it's like, oh man, I gained some weight because it was tight. And I'm like, oh geez, what did I eat? And then I realized it was my son's pair of pants. And he was a 32.
I've
never
britches?
Yeah, I put my son's pants on and he wears a 32. And I got down to a 36, and I thought I was doing great at 34s, and I goes into a 32. So
you're getting ready.
Yeah,
to try
I'm
out for
getting
the
there.
You're ready to go for the Chippendale outfit, right?
Yeah, I guess you can say that. If I'm gonna do that, though, I'll put the spandex back on and jump on the ring.
Yeah, we'll get into the Robin Hood men in tights later, but. So Andrew,
make comments about it.
how did the world go for you belly wise?
It's funny because I didn't actually, and sorry I'm late. I didn't measure my belly button, but I was wearing a very tight 36 when I started, and I wear a comfortable 32 now.
There you go.
Nice.
Perfect. And so, guys, most men attack calories, but few attack the metabolic dysfunction creating the belly. That's why we have the comeback plan, the 2-step reset. That's why we want to focus on the insulin and the gut health, blood sugar and metabolic flexibility, because the body works better when everything works better, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's a
Most
question.
definitely.
Here's a question. How does belly fat impact testosterone? Who wants to start being our microbiologist today? I would say John. Everybody else is nodding their head no.
I really
You've been
don't.
elected.
I mean, I really don't know how physiologically it affects the testosterone, but I do know if you have belly fat, odds are you're going to have insulin resistance, and if you have insulin resistance, it's going to mess with your cholesterol, which is going to mess with your testosterone. It's going to mess with all your hormones. So just because I know of insulin resistance, that's why I know it affects it. How is it affected particularly? I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
It's a hormone, right? It's a
Right.
hormone, and everything affects the hormones. And that's one of the big stories here is that most guys traditionally, when we start talking about testosterone and manhood, the virility of it, the libido side of it, we never, ever does anybody ever say, hey, that's tied to it, right? I mean, because what we got the dad bod, all right, and that's kind of been romanticized, right? And we got the beer belly, right? Well, that's just a beer belly, chugga lugga lugga lugga.
I'm not fat. I'm big boned.
Yeah, big bone, right? Big bone. but none of it, and not you guys all developed that. But I looking at my group, I know there aren't any drinkers on this bunch, really, right?
I quit drinking when I turned 21 because of diabetes, and plus it was no longer fun to do because it's legal enough to buy it.
Oh, so some of the sport was gone. Is that what you're telling me?
Right. I mean, what's the point in doing it? It's legal to buy. So what fun
But
is
think
it?
about this. What is the addictive character of alcohol? Is it the alcohol or is it sugar content?
Sugar.
Yeah, it's the sugar.
So that addiction, they never talk about it from that standpoint. It's the alcohol, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a high conversion rate to sugar, yes, but they don't talk about even the content. Or now there's low carbohydrate beer or whatever. I don't know what the heck that means. But the idea is that it's always been and will continue to be sugar. And so when we look at someone that's in that state with that beer belly, it's not uncommon to think, oh, they're out, they're partying and drinking, right? Would that be correct, Keith?
Yeah.
So
that'd be the first thing that people would think about. Well, he has a beer belly, right?
Right. Yeah.
But come on, guys! I've seen people that are just as addicted to Dr. Pepper and Pepsi as they are alcohol, and they'll sit and talk about the people drinking the alcohol and they're killing themselves with soda.
Yeah, the same way.
It's interesting. I still do enjoy a beer now and then, and we do have wine pretty much every Shabbat, at least a glass. But it's really interesting. What I have seen is, since I've gotten a lot more metabolically fit, if I have a large piece of birthday cake, the next morning I feel just as if I had had a 6-pack of beer the next day.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
I get that.
I never made those connections before.
I got to show you guys something. I'm going to show you something. I'm at my house in Hannah City, and we talk about wine. I'm just going to show you this.
Wow. That's a lot of corks.
That's a lot of corks. That's
Been
a lot
saving
of
those for
grapes.
a minute, have you, George?
There's
And
a lot
that's
of
in the
missing
last
grapes.
month.
There's a lot of missing grapes.
Yeah. He just said made to the garbage can this week.
There you go. I tell you what, but I mean, I loved wine. I don't know, like, but the whole thing is that it was the flavor and it went well. I mean, I get that. It was that kind of thing. A gazillion years ago for myself on that, where I went from a high school 24 incher, at 124, 128 senior, right, to December freshman year of college, 180 plus.
Wow.
That was 1950.
Yeah, about 1950. That's when they just invented beer and pizza for it.
Right.
But that was the balloon. I mean, that I earned that. I mean, I earned every ounce of that. So what did you guys do to get that? I mean, of course, one of my nicknames was Mr. Belly So Big. The Bahama children called me, "Hey, Mr. Belly So Big, Mr. Belly So Big," because I was coaching my university. I was one of the universities, and I had 43 kids in the Bahamas for 2 weeks training. And then we walked from the dormitory to the pool for where we'd work out. We'd walk, and we're going through the village, as it were. And I've got guys that were, they're 18, 19, 20, 21 maybe, and girls same age, and they're all swimming about 2,000 meters a day, 20,000 meters a day. They're swimming towards a marathon a day. So you can figure out that the guys are running, 4-8% body fat. Girls are in the 12s or whatever. And then there's Mr. Belly So Big.
Explains a lot.
Yeah, it was like the kids were right. They called me Mr. Belly So Big. So how did you get to be Mr. Belly So Big, Mr. Keith Newsom?
I got to be that way before I even got about my freshman year in high school. Somewhere in middle school, I just started growing. And then by the time I graduated, I mean, I weigh less now than I did when I was 15 years old when I got my first driver's license.
Wow.
Wow.
Nice.
And by way less, I mean by about 40 pounds.
Wow.
Hokey smoky. Wow. So wait. One thing here, by way of relation, though, just for people that are listening, I was born in 1950, just like our buddy Iceman said. So I'm 74. Everybody else was born 1970 or later, right? Anybody before 1970? You're all 1970 or later.
Yeah.
So you've all lived in the modern day food environment.
Right.
I was fine until the modern day food environment came about, in essence, because then I caught up with y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I caught up on that whole sled.
Correct.
So yeah, I can. It starts to make more sense when you start looking at the timeline. When you really look at it, because at America's we just celebrated the 250, right?
Yep.
250. So thank you very much for your service. But we're celebrating the 250th. The modern day food environment, we didn't have that problem for the first 125 years. We didn't have that even beyond that. We didn't have the modern day food environment. The industrialization started in 1900-ish. And high fructose corn syrup came in the 1970s. The tobacco owning food companies and the addiction came in the late 70s, 80s, which is all during your lifetime. So
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of it didn't happen until the 70s, and then that's when
Yep.
it really started ramping up.
Exactly. It started to ramp up. So James, how did you get to be Mr. Belly so big?
I've put some thought into that, and I grew up in the southern coal fields of West Virginia, and they had to pump the sunshine in down there. So all I ever ate was whatever Mama put on the table.
Right.
Whether I liked it or not, that's what I had, and then I'd have leftovers from that probably the next night because my dad was a coal miner, and it was feast or famine. I didn't get to hit the modern food era with all the fast food and stuff until I was grown. And that's whenever, of course, I started putting on the weight and started, I got married and settled into a job and wasn't nearly as active. So, coming from where I grew up to moving into a more, developed areas then and there, that's when things started going downhill for me and putting all the weight on and health problems started.
Yeah, so there's a definitive shift in lifestyle.
Yep.
Right. And convenience.
Well,
access.
When I ate at home, when Mom and Dad was feeding me, we ate scheduled meals, and controlled meals. And, there wasn't a whole lot of eating in between meals. So, it was closer to the way we're supposed to eat than what I'd been doing the last 30 years.
So when you let's say when you broke out of that home environment, what was your major downfall? What did you gravitate? What was your go-to?
Well, you got to understand, I was newly married. I was in my mid-20s, and being newly married, neither one of us could cook enough to count for anything. So there was a lot of pizza, a lot of running through drive-throughs, a lot of, we both worked. So you grab something on the way home. And, we chose convenience over nutrition, really. That's what we were doing.
Exactly. So Coop, how did you gain the Mr. Belly so big?
I mean, you guys aren't going to believe this, but I taught martial arts in college. So I was captain of the judo team in college.
Really?
And trained 3 hours a day. I mean, if my parents were alive, they'd be upset because I was training as much as I was going to class. And we just worked out. I was in the gym a couple hours a day. Then I was in training in judo a couple hours a day. And so I ate whatever I wanted. I just burned it off. It was crazy. And then reality showed up and I had to get a job after college.
Sure.
And just lost that whole space, and just focused on work, and just that was the beginning of the issue, really, because I just stopped training, go once in a while, work out once in a while, nothing like I did before. That I was training 5-6 days a week in college,
So
and
that
then
intensity drops. The intensity drops, and then in your work, as you were growing, you're expanding.
yeah,
Were you at a desk job? Were you a laborer? Were you a
yeah,
manager?
no, desk job, sales manager, all these things, and it just was how many times. I mean, I remember when I was selling, my boss said, "There's no one that eats better than you," because I had the corporate credit card.
Oh, there you go.
And she's like, "I don't know what to tell you," and I said, "Well, look at my sales. We're good. We're fine." But honestly, it was bad. Like looking back on it,
Yeah.
there's no way. I mean, it doesn't surprise me knowing what I know now that I got rid of all my activity and went straight into eating whatever, whenever, meetings, this and that, all that stuff, and it just every couple months it just got worse and worse, and then got bad.
Yeah.
So it was pretty simple looking at it now.
Sure. And I would bet all the guys would say, if we were in the room with you at that time, well, put away your wallets. Here comes Scoop.
Every short arms, right? Crocodile arms. It's like, hey, and it happened a lot, and I just laughed because I wasn't paying for it either.
Yeah. Yeah. So, John, how did you grow your personalities?
I can actually pinpoint it back to my senior year in high school.
Okay.
Because when football season started that year, I weighed 237 pounds. And that's what I weighed in for the start of the season. By the time I graduated senior year, I was up to 320 pounds. And, that was, I went from 230 to 320 my senior year in high school.
Is he the winner? Anybody top 320?
But the thing is, back at that time it was the late 90s. So all they cared about was a 300-pound lineman. And I weighed in at 237. I wasn't 300 pounds, but that's all they cared about. So when I started becoming the star lineman, like, we put more weight on you. And so, I ate calories. I ate what I could. So 10, 15,000 calories to put weight on, not realizing what it did to my metabolic health.
And we just for reference, everybody that's watching, John is not George at 5'8". John is like
no.
6
6'3".
foot yesterday.
Yeah, I'm 6'3". But the thing is I now weigh less than I did when I started my senior year in high school. I'm average between 220 and 227 for the last 7-8 months now.
And how do you feel?
I feel great. I don't have any problems now. I mean, besides dealing with the foot surgery, but other than that, I'm great.
Cool.
But I did. Like I said, I pinpointed back to that time because I was always drinking Mountain Dew. I was always eating carbs. I was always eating pasta because that's what we were told in football to get that energy. So you had the momentum, the energy you needed to play the game.
Sure.
But not realizing what it does to you in the long run.
Yeah.
Right. Now, when did you get the Hulk body?
Oh, that was actually before. I started doing that probably freshman year in high school, just to powerlift, to be active, because my dad was always like, be powerlifting like the family. But I really didn't start getting my size and all that until I went to college.
Okay.
When I went to college and, I was running a 4.86 40-yard dash at 320 pounds. That's when I really put the weight on, put the size on. But then when I quit exercising, basically quit running, I that's when I really ballooned up with the 450. So
okay,
yeah, but that's after I got diagnosed and all that kind of crap, and
got it. So guys, we got this ultra concentrated yerba mate, crushes cravings, supports GLP-1 naturally, clean, calm energy, because the battle against the belly starts before dinner.
Yep.
So, Andrew, how did you grow your personality?
Grow my personality. It's interesting. I was listening to James, and my upbringing was very similar. We were in the oil field instead of the coal mines. So we didn't have a whole lot of variety. We went to the fast food restaurant. There were 5 of us in the family. We went 5 times a year because that was our birthday like party kind of thing. But my mom did serve a lot of pasta. And so by the time I was in middle school, I was at like 180, 185. And that's what I was in junior high and pretty much in high school. And then I went to work after college and started gaining weight after that because I was in not necessarily a desk job, but I was working 14-hour days, and I started cramming everything I could food wise. It didn't matter. I just ate when I could eat. And eventually my weight started going up a bit. I got married. It went up some more. And we actually went through 2 or 3 different waves of losing weight and doing it various different ways. But every time we'd find a lifestyle change, something in our life would change that was no longer compatible with that lifestyle. And so the weight would just come right back on. And this last time around, it was stress. It was, we have 4 kids. We're going here and there and everywhere. And even though what we buy is generally fairly healthy, we ate healthier than anybody I knew around us. We were eating frequently, and it still wasn't the best, right?
Right.
I didn't know anything about intermittent fasting. I knew a bit about fasting, but not regular intermittent fasting. And I knew nothing about blood sugar. All I knew was I had started getting more and more diagnoses.
Okay.
And now I weigh less than I did when I was in junior high.
Gosh, look at you guys. You're all just going down, getting evaporated now. That's way cool. Todd, welcome to the group. And you go ahead and turn on your mic. And question for you is, we're talking about how did you grow your personality? Now, you're a little bit different. You're a college athlete and that, but you also grew your personality. So how did you, what caused you to get a little bit past your collegiate strength there?
I was diagnosed with diabetes at 10. So I went to the local Milwaukee Children's Hospital, learning all about health. And with the coaches I had, swimming and so forth, training through high school, I'd even arranged some of my free schedules, open hour to do weight training at the end of the day. So by the time I graduated high school, I was about 190. And I kept that weight about 195 throughout college. And for the next 30 years, I was between 200 to 205, maybe up to 210. And it was just only a couple of years ago, and things changed because I stopped working. I was in outside sales and doing less activity. But still, there was a stress, and I was moving around and driving from city to city. It was just when I started taking care of my neighbor and my mom, getting more sedentary, I knew it was catching up with me. I said, eventually it will catch me. And it was 2 years ago when all of a sudden I couldn't fit in any of my 34 jeans anymore and my 34 double pleated dress pants. I had to go up to 36, 38. And the weight went up from about 205, 210. The highest I was 236. And there was that pooch there. So I also was one of those people that never fasted. The doctors told me, you cannot fast, you're a diabetic, that's dangerous for you. You must eat 2 meals at least and like 3 or 4 snacks a day. And I got to the point where I was a little depressed, snacking late at night, knowing I shouldn't do that because that would affect my blood sugars. And I was always cooking for mom and making sure I ate a decent, well-rounded meal. I was good at that. It's just that I'm now better at cutting out the carbs. After starting this unicity, I don't have those cravings. Like I feel like I'm, that feeling that you're starving. You don't have that. And I'll take I used to have, if you take a multivitamin, I would feel like throwing up 10 minutes later my whole life. But when I take the fiber drink, that coats my stomach and I can absorb things much better along with the food, and I don't get the sugar spike. So the weight has gone down. I lost 20 pounds. The pooch is still there. Skin's getting softer, but I haven't started working out yet. So
All right.
there's some things I need to learn. And one thing I was doing for years is low blood sugar, drink a Coke. Low blood sugar, hop out of the swimming pool and grab some sugar. And then now I can avoid that. It's just extending some fasting. The 12, 14 hours I'm fine with. I'm a little hesitant to go longer, but I'm fine. Slowly moving into this.
Perfect. So we got to look real quick. I'm going to call on Keith. Keith, it's time to talk about one of your favorite sticks. Tell us about the Signal.
Oh, I love that stuff. That's what I got right here. It's got so many good things. It's got the magnesium, the beetroot, all the stuff to help hydrate. I couple that up with, usually that's my afternoon drink. I'll do a tea and a Signal together. And I can tell when I don't have it because there have been days over the past probably months since I've been traveling so much where I didn't have my salt readily available and I would start getting some leg cramps and some other things. And when I take it, and I'll drink 1 to 2 of these a day,
Yep.
and
Yep.
it has, my blood pressure was before I started taking the Signal, my blood pressure was decent enough to get off meds, but not exactly 100%. And since I've taken that, I just feel so much more alive and so much more calm.
Uh-huh.
It takes quite a bit more to get me worked up.
Yeah.
And I mean, the benefits far outweigh anything I've tried.
Sure. Sure. And James, your experience with AFib, right? You're aware. Both of you have. Anybody else have AFib? Is it James and Keith?
I don't anymore.
Not anymore. And
I tell you what, I am here to give a testimony about Signal. I have had 2 ablations to try to stop the AFib. I've been on multiple medications, to control. They can't fix to control the AFib. Nothing has helped me as much as Signal, and
Cool.
I didn't know how it was going to help me. But I'm so thankful that I have the Signal product because I do 2 of them a day easily.
Yep.
And I have I won't say never, but very, very, very seldom now do I have any interference with AFib.
Great.
And that's been a hindrance to me most of my adult life.
Perfect. Because
So that's saying
how
something.
the Signal works for everybody that's listening and watching, Signal works because it's more than a mineral. It's actually electrical because every heartbeat, every nerve requires what? Electricity. And that signal. Every muscle contraction requires that. Every cellular support necessary runs on this electrical pulse that this minerals really helps to communicate better. It cleans the channel up. It makes things, the availability for hydration, electrolysis, electrolytes, and communication. So cool. All right. So let's go this way. Who told you, everybody, I'll just fire this out to everybody one thing. Who told you that belly fat was harmless? Anybody?
My overweight doctor.
I think that's all of us on that one.
Same here. Yep.
All right. And why do men, this is kind of interesting. Why do men avoid discussing these issues? What's the whole
For me, it was a sign of embarrassment, a sign of, I felt that it made me look like I didn't know how to take care of myself. A little embarrassed, a little disgusted, to be honest with you, at that how far I'd let it go before I went, geez, maybe I should take a look at this.
Okay. Who told you that? What about this? Who told you that it's just aging? How
Oh God,
My
about
overweight
everybody.
doctor.
Doctors.
everybody so everybody wants to be the same. So they don't want you to be now that you're the way you are. Do your friends look at you different?
You know, they want to know what I'm doing
No, yeah.
Yeah.
now.
They want to know what you're doing. They don't want to do it.
Yeah, a lot of times.
A lot of times they're
I
like,
think they're more scared that it'll actually work. It'll give
Yeah.
them, won't give them something to complain about.
yeah, the kind of fear of success, John. Is that what you think?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
That's totally what it is. I don't know how many people I've talked to who, well, I don't know if I can give up my Ben and Jerry's, or I don't know if I can give up my Twix or candy bars. I mean, I'm addicted to that. I have to have it. Well, you know what? I am too. I still eat them. I just don't as often.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's one of the great things. It's not we're not monks,
yeah.
right?
Well, Andrew might be.
no,
Yeah,
I definitely know. I got the hair.
not at all.
we're not questioning, right? We're not in a little enclave all by our little cells. We're out in the real world. And Todd, what do people say when they see you've made some changes? I mean, you're shrinking. Your face is smaller, and that. What have people noticed at all? Are they asking you?
Thanks, George. You're the first one that mentioned that to me. No, I'm starting to get out and communicate with old friends, and so some of them haven't seen me for 5-6 years. I have gotten a couple of compliments like, "Hey, looks like you're losing a little bit of weight, especially in your face." But a lot of these friends I'm getting together with are masters athletes. They'll do their 18 holes of golf, whatever, once with the whole family. And I'm lucky if I can do 9 holes right now. That's good for me. So we'll see what happens. I'm just kind of in that changing mode where I haven't had much feedback, but I can see it myself, and that's good enough. There's more to learn.
Yep. So,
You know,
guys,
For me,
Go ahead,
it's
Andrew.
been running into people that I haven't seen in like 18 months, and they don't even know who I am.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, just the other night, someone was so embarrassed that they couldn't remember my name that she had to work around a way to get me to introduce myself, and then she's like, "No." Yeah, so that was
Yep,
really
that's
cool.
me.
I mean, it sucked to
I
get
was-
to where I was, but it feels great now.
well, that's great. I love it. John, what have people noticing you? I mean, we
Oh,
flew
yeah.
up to almost 300 to 180, whatever.
Okay, I started this in January of 2025, right? I lost my job with the sheriff's office in February, at the end of February 2025. When I got fired, I came home, gathered up my stuff, took my uniforms and everything that day back. So the guy that I turned it into is a guy I work with who's seen me before the protocol, and then he saw me in street clothes after, not even a full month on this. And it blew his mind away on how much I changed. It's in the 30 days. I mean, I've been trying to get him to do this because just recently he's been diagnosed with kidney cancer and some other stuff. And I've talked to him about this multiple times. He's seen this testimony, he's seen the stories, but he just does not comprehend it. He doesn't understand it. But I mean, you can only tell somebody so many times. I mean, you can
Right.
lead the horse to the trough, but you can't make him drink it.
Mhm.
So, and unfortunately for his sake, I mean, if he would have got on when I first talked to him about him,
Yeah.
there's a good chance he probably would never got kidney cancer.
Sure.
But I mean, it's hard to say.
Because
But
we know that C loves sugar.
Yes.
If you don't understand that, all you have to look at is if you've ever had a PET scan. Someone that gets a PET scan, to make that actually work, they get radioactive sugar.
Mhm.
Because that radioactive sugar, the C cells love that. And they turn like butts on a firefly.
And-
They light up. And
It's
now
not
they
just-
see where it's at. I mean,
It's
it's
just
really
not
what it
cancer
is.
too, George. It's
Huh?
almost every. It's not just cancer. Almost
Yeah.
every illness or almost every
Oh,
disease
absolutely.
feeds
Absolutely.
off of sugar. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. You bet.
Well,
So,
you can say sugar and point to a part of the body and then mention what the disease is. I mean, you can point to your head, dementia. You can point to your heart, coronary. Add sugar to that, and that gives you a lot of the reason for those diseases.
yep. So, guys, let me ask you this: when you were back in the belly, so big side of the world, did you think that low energy was just normal? Did waking up and did you wake up tired? Were those two things normal?
yeah, I've always put it towards maybe I didn't get a good night's rest because you're always waking up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom because you're always peeing. So I always thought, okay, I'm not sleeping good because I'm getting up doing this. And then I come to find out it wasn't true. And then the other thing I kept tying towards it was me being such overweight. I'm not being as active as I used to be. So maybe that's just the way the body functions. Come to
Sure.
find out that that's not accurate either. So
How many times? How many times have you said in the past years, "God, I got to lose some weight. I got to get back in shape. I'm so out of shape. Oh, I got to lose some weight." When you're out of breath, when you're tired, when you're feeling bad. I mean, I must have said that a billion times.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always used to joke for my size. I used to say God has a sense of humor. I prayed for him to get me into shape, and he made me in the shape of a pear. I'm just trying. I'm just trying not to get to gourd.
Round is a shape, George.
And it's a shape, right? Todd, you when you saw me a year ago or in September, what did you think?
George, what the heck have you been doing? Because it was 15 years between the last time I saw you before that. And yeah, you were a roly poly guy, and kind of like me, you're self deprecative. You'd make fun of yourself as a roly poly grandpa. But what did you do? You've lost a lot of weight. And you said, let me tell you, being the type 2 diabetic, and I'm a type 1 diabetic, and if it was anybody else, I'd probably blow it off. But when you showed me what you did, and I couldn't understand 18 on AC1, whatever, that 100,
Yep.
843,
Yep.
that seemed unfathomable to me, because I could get up to 300 or 400. I can't feel high and lows. I could be 40 or 400. I can't feel it. And so my health was deteriorating. And I said, if it happened to you, if I get some of that, I'm willing to try it for 3 months.
There you
Rather
go.
than, so I said, let's try it because I really have to believe in it. I still haven't had those wonder effects, but I know it's helping me, and I'm learning more every week.
Yep. Absolutely. John, I'm going to have you give us a thing about Stronghold. What can you tell us? Because you're my favorite Lou Ferrigno. What can you tell us about Stronghold?
Stronghold's amazing. I mean, it's got HMB, it's got L-leucine in it, creatine. I mean, majority of the nutrients that a lot of bodybuilders like to get towards building muscle are in that one little product. But it helps with anabolic resistance. People don't know about anabolic resistance as much as they don't know insulin resistance. And anabolic resistance is where the body breaks down protein for fuel and all that kind of stuff. So that helps prevent that. And it does wonders when you add it with balance. So
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So this is the question for you, for everyone to fire around the room. What was your turning point? Let's start with James. James, what was your turning point?
As far as in my health recovery,
Yeah. And your comeback. What was your turning point?
well, I mean, like I say, all the time, I had a really bad heart attack at 50, and there's nothing that makes you wake up laying on the table whenever they're talking about you, rushing around trying to keep you from going hereafter. So that really was a wake up call, and then once I started trying to add some things, do things healthier, at that point. But then once my wife found this protocol and I started seeing the results that she had, I thought I've got to give that a try. That's been truly a lifesaver for me.
Perfect. Keith, what was your turning point?
Well,
I mean, You can give it to us.
I mean, one passing away and coming back, and then two seeing my grandson's face is what pushed me to the edge to say. I mean, I knew I had to do something after I got out of the hospital, but when I saw him, I knew that I had to really take it seriously, a lot more serious, and I,
Got it.
you know,
Got it.
You
We're
could
glad
literally
you're here. We're glad you're here. We're glad they had we're glad they had the electronic things to keep you going, buddy. That's the big deal.
you
Coop,
can sit.
what was your turning point?
Yeah, I ended up being in the ICU after getting a wound, went sepsis, and DKA, all this stuff. And I was sitting there saying, man, this is not good. But I'll tell you, I recently remembered, I kind of knew it wasn't good. I wasn't going to make it, to be honest with you. In fact, I would buy a shirt. I was telling this to some friends the other day, and I'd look at it and I'd say, oh, it's a nice shirt. And then I'd return it. I'd ship it back because I realized I wasn't going to make it. And my wife and kids needed that $20 or that $30. I mean, that's how bad I was, to be honest with you. So this was like when I saw this and Keith on the call, I watched his testimony and I said, man, if this could work for him, which it did, and I said, well, I didn't die on the table, right? So I'm better off. If it could work for him, I said, maybe it could work for me. So it's like I'm so grateful that God led me to this through my brother, and I'm doing great. I was doing yard work today for a couple hours, no big deal.
Perfect. I love
You
it.
know,
John, what was your turning point, buddy?
Well, I'm going to add one thing to Keith there. I mean, Keith can literally say it was a shock of a lifetime for him, is what made him realize this, because it literally was. Because he was clinically dead, and they had to shock him to bring him back, if I remember correctly. But the thing is like with me, I was bad like Coop. I was on the verge of sepsis. I mean, I couldn't see it. I was on the verge of it. I had foot ulcers, type 2 diabetic for 25 years, slowly getting worse no matter what I tried. 3 hours in the gym a day, changing what I ate, move more, eat less. It's never worked. I would never thought of sitting here on the recliner watching TikTok of one day, of all places, of a gentleman talking about this being accurate. And honestly, I took it as a joke. And I was like, no, I'm going to do this to prove the guy wrong.
Hmm.
I'm going to circle day 80 on my calendar and get my money back and say, hey, look, it's another thing that didn't work. And, 30 days later, I was more and more humbled to put my own foot in my mouth and eat my words. Because that's exactly what I did. 30 days, down 60 pounds, reversed my type 2 diabetes, all that. So,
Andrew, what was your turning point?
It's kind of interesting because I knew more than a year before that we had to do something, but I knew that A, if I didn't do it with my wife, and B, we didn't figure out what was going on, we weren't going to be able to deal with it. And because we'd done so many things, we had made so many more improvements. I was actually, every year for the previous 3 years, I improved my pace on my 5K virtual races, right? I was still functioning well. I was just really heavy, and I was low on testosterone. I was on a CPAP. I had higher risk for heart disease, and I knew all this, but I didn't know what to do. And at the same time, my wife, she's a nurse, and she's always reaching out to people. I didn't do much at all on social media until I started doing this stuff. It's completely a life changer. Go from engineer to semi-influencer, right?
internet sensation.
Right. So she had two independent people come to her about the product, and one of them happened to be Dr. Kenny. They had worked together in a previous endeavor, and she'd met him a couple times, and he was reaching out to her, and I think she might have reached back to him, and it was like, I didn't know that she'd been talking to him for 6 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But when the second person came along and asked about it and had heard about other testimonies, she's like, maybe we should call Dr. Kenny. we had the call to start the product, and he told me all this stuff, showed me the video, and he couldn't stop talking fast enough. I mean, he sat there and jabbered for like 45 minutes, and I'm like, you can stop talking now because we're going to buy in the business. We're not even try the product. It makes so much sense that we bought the business the day that we bought the product the first time.
Perfect. All right. Todd, what was your turning point? What was your turning point? What gets you started?
I don't know if I have a wondrous turnaround like some of you guys have said, but also I wasn't at insurance for years. Still, I'm not. So I don't have a base point like testosterone. I know things are changing, but what is happening to my body? It was really after a few days of being on, those cravings disappeared. That's when I knew, hey, this is pretty cool. And I didn't know anything about the fasting at the time. You get bummed, you open up the ice cream container and all of a sudden it's half gone, or open up a bag of chips and you eat a few at a time and then the bag is gone. If I have a snack, I can stop. And that only happened after a couple of days. So to me, it wasn't a big health change, but I knew it could be a start of changing bad routines that I had accumulated over the years.
Perfect. All right. So guys, we're up against the 10 minutes to the hour. I want to go one last thing on our fiber, on our balance. It's a patented matrix. It supports our blood health. It supports your gut health. It helps our metabolic health because your gut controls the majority of what you think and think. I tell you, guys, it's been a great day. I love you. And we'll get together next week. I'll let you know what our topic is. I'm not sure, but we have one coming. Have a great week. Happy 250th. And I'll see you on the next call. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye,
So,
guys.
fellas,
Thanks.
Thank you.